basically you can hit the 30 miler or you can hit the 50 miler, right? Now I think it was like left for 50 miler, right for 30 miler. I took the left. So I was on the wrong course. All right, guys, let's go. I failed my first ultra marathon. I already recorded this video, but I'm recording it again because the first video was like all over the place. Please be patient with me. I am not a great storyteller despite being a YouTuber. Okay, so the day of the race, we're getting hyped up. We had our fuel. We had our, we had our oatmeal, bananas, honey. Like, dude, we were going crazy. I mean, we've been training for this since like the winter, and it's the summer now. I remember the day we bought it. Me and him both were like, "Hey, man, we should just buy it right now." And we both were like kind of like overweight, like admittedly so. I think he'd even say that too. Like to the standards that we put ourselves at, we're both kind of like a little overweight. So we're like, all right, forget it, man. We're gonna buy this. We're gonna train for this. We know this is gonna get us in shape, and that's for you too. If you want to get in shape, the best way is to, like, sounds crazy, right? But the best way is to like book a marathon, book a high rocks, book a event, and then do the event. Like, have it set for a year, and then be like, all right, all my training is surrounding this event, because that got me in shape real quick. Because you're like, holy shit, like, you could die here. You could die on this mountain, right? You could die, right? And if you don't know, Pikes Peak, it's a mountain, right? It's a mountain. So we're doing 30 miles, 50K, 30 miles up a mountain. Correct? Cool. It looks like this, right? So the day of the race, right? We're listening to Goggins on the way to the race. We got all our gear. I'm super packed up. There's one thing I forgot though, and that is my freaking battery. Thing is, I didn't have a Garmin, and I didn't have a GPS watch. So I had to use my phone as the GPS. I don't even think that would have worked, because I don't think I downloaded the map before. I was a little underprepared when it came to the GPS race. But once again, when it comes to the GPS part. But once again, this is my first ultra marathon. You gotta give me a little slack, all right? And the last race I did was a half marathon. So I'm like damn near doubling the distance, almost tripling the distance, hint, hint, right? So I'm damn near tripling the distance. You gotta give me a little slack there. So I basically was running, I was recording, I was listening to music, I was doing a lot of things to drain my phone's battery life. And the thing is, I thought that I was gonna finish way earlier than I did. And I wasn't really that wrong. So I was like, okay, like I'm at a full battery now. Once I go up to the mountains, I'm gonna record, I'm gonna listen to music. But by the time I hit 30 miles, I'm sure my phone, even though it might be dead, I'll be done with the race. And I was kinda right. I'm gonna stop blue balling you. My phone died, right? Because my phone died, I didn't have GPS, meaning I didn't know where to go. Now, thankfully, they marked this race pretty good, but I am also a little slow. So at the last aid station, there's two places you can go. You can hit the 50K or you can hit the 30 miler, right? Or no, you can hit the 50 miler or you can hit the 50K. Now, basically you can hit the 30 miler or you can hit the 50 miler, right? Now, I think it was like left for 50 miler, right for 30 miler. I took the left. So I was on the wrong course. I was on the course for the 50 miler when I was supposed to only do the 30 miler. All right. So shit, after the last aid station, stuff started to get weird. I was super fueled though. Shout out to the aid station, man. It was amazing. I had like a fucking feast there before I left. So I was good. I was good for a little bit, right? So I'm running, I'm tracking. There's basically there's times where there was nobody by me, and this was one of those times. There was like two girls who like kept outpacing me. They would like stop. This is how elite some people are, just as a side note. They would stop, take pictures, no hiking poles, stop, take pictures. Wow, that's awesome. And then they start running again. And then I like catch up, and I would not stop at all. I would power walk, I'd keep moving. And I'd like catch up with them a little bit, and then they'd be like, stop, take some more pictures, and then just keep going. And they were literally like in front of me the entire time. So sometimes I'd see them, but for the most part, and sometimes I'd see somebody like behind me. It was like, it was like another lady behind me. So sometimes I see people, but the point is that when I went on that 50-miler course, I didn't see anybody. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And then I started seeing like people chugging it. I mean, I started seeing people like going super fast. And I'm like, yo, am I in the right place? I was like, what's going on? So these motherfuckers was dashing, and they were like, are you okay? Because, you know, I'm not going that fast. And these are like elite runners. So, you know, they're like, oh, you're an elite runner too. You know, they're just assuming, right? You're just assuming stuff. But so they're like, okay, are you okay? Are you all right? And I was like, first I was like, yeah, I'm good. You know, I said I'm good. And then I was like, yo, like, is this the 50K or is this the 50-miler? And then they're like, oh, well, I'm running the 50-miler. I don't know where the 30K is at. Or I don't know where the 30-miler is at. It gets confusing sometimes, 30K, 30-miler, whatever. I don't know where the 30-miler is at. I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, I'm running this race for a long time. I'm like, I should have been done by now, like for sure. And then I was talking to some of the guides, you know, some of the people who ran the race with me, and they're just like, oh man, we're just gonna hit Mount Rosa. Everybody's like super chill. Everybody has like the greatest attitude ever. Everyone's super chill, great attitudes. Like these are like some of the best people I met was on that run. It was insane. But so I was just like, yeah, man, we're just gonna go up Mount Rosa. After Mount Rosa, it's like not that long of a stretch, which is a stretch in of itself, right? Because after Mount Rosa, I think it was like, and Mount Rosa was, by the way, the peak. So after the peak, it was about 20 miles after that. So what they did was they kind of just gave a little bit more room for the 50-miler. So to go to the peak, because if you did the 30-miler, you would have hit the peak at like mile 25. But with the 50-miler, I think you have to peak at like mile 30. So I was at the peak at like mile 30, and then I just kept going. I was like, damn, I've been on this trail for a while. And that's when I just realized like I'm on the 50-mile course. I was like, okay, I did the wrong course. And I think I talked to somebody and they were like, well, did you go left or did you go right? And I was like, oh, I went left. And they're like, oh yeah, you're on the wrong course. So after that, I realized I was on the wrong course. I kept going though, man. I kept going. And that was the thing, like, it reminded me of a quote that David Goggins said, and he said, like, the human body, once you know that you're gonna keep moving, it will keep moving. Like, it will just accept whatever the mind tells it. And yeah, there were times where I stopped a little bit, and there's times where I slowed down, but I really just kept going. I really just, for the most part, like, yeah, I kept going, and I didn't stop. And, you know, it was literally the most pain I was ever in, because it was my first ultra, and I wanted to do the 30-miler, not the 50-miler, but I was just like, whatever, let's do it. And it was so fun, though. It was so fun. But then, you know, you just like think of the story, like I would say, and this is what it also taught me this about hard times, right? Whenever you're in a hard time, like you really have to think like, man, how badass of a story is this gonna be? Where I was like, hey kids, I ran a 30-mile race. I was supposed to run a 30-mile race up a mountain, but instead I ran a 50-mile race up a mountain. Like that is so cool. Like, so I'm just like, I'm kind of accepting it in my brain. My body is like in so much pain, especially I needed electrolytes like crazy, but the aid station was a little further because I took the wrong course. My aid station was like 14 miles away instead of like 7 miles away or like something like that. So I was going a long time without refueling. Right, but I still had my own pack, and you know everybody was so encouraging and stuff too. So it was really cool. And then you're in such a beautiful environment, so it was like kind of weird. It was like the time that I was in the most pain was also the time that I like felt the best. Like it wasn't one of my greatest moods ever. It's kind of interesting. But I think I caboodled at like by mile 37 or 38. I was like damn near dead. I was still like, I'm gonna do the 50-miler, but it's probably gonna take me like 2 to 3 hours in order to complete it. And 2 to 3 hours more in order to complete it, because I was probably already at like 7 or 8 hours by now. And I was like, damn. But I wasn't proud of myself because I did do the 30. I did do the 50K, right? I did do the 50K. I did do the 30-miler, so that was awesome. But then I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to do the 50-miler. And I was like, dang, I'm gonna DNF anyways, because like you can't just switch up races. You can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna do the 50. You can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna do the 50K, or I'm gonna do the. You can't just be like, I'm going to do the 50-miler instead of the 30-miler. You can't just like switch races like that. Like you'll still DNF, you still did not finish, right? Because I think it's like it's pricier and then it's just confusing and whatever. So I knew I was gonna DNF anyways, so I was just like but I still wanted to do it for the story, but my quads were kind of, they were giving out, not gonna lie, right? So by the time I was at like mile 37, I was sitting on a rock, and then this younger lady was walking past, and then she was like, "Hey, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm good." She just was standing there, and I was like, "Oh, you can go past." And she was like, "Oh no, like I'm picking up flags for this race." So basically, how they marked the race and how you knew where you were going is they had these like pink flags, and she was actually the race director's daughter. So I was like, damn, so this race is over with. I was like, this is cooked. Like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to finish the 50 mile, because if the person's picking up flags, right? So that basically means that the race is done. Like, they're picking up flags, they're cleaning up, right? And she's like, yeah, I have to like wait for you in order to go. And I was dead. But it was like this pressure of like, damn, like my legs hurt a lot, but like, I don't want to keep people waiting, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, got up, off my butt. I got my hiking pose and I just kept going. And I was in, dude, this like last 2 miles to this aid station was so painful. It was one of the biggest pains I've ever felt in my entire life. My quads were literally like on fire is not even, it's not a good description. It was one of the most pains I've ever felt in my entire life down this mountain to the last aid station. So afterwards, right, we reached the last aid station. I'm freaking dead. Like, I'm so dead. You know what's crazy though? Like, okay, so I'm dead at the last aid station, and then I drink some electrolytes, and I'm like, yo, 12 miles don't sound too bad. I'm like, yo, like, can I do it? Can I do the extra 12? I didn't really ask. It was kind of already insinuated that like, yo, we're gonna drive you down the mountain. Like, there's no way you're gonna finish this race. You don't even know where you're going after that. So there's no way I was gonna do the 50 miler, but I did do 39 miles. I'm gonna remind you guys that I did do about, like, I'm gonna say 40, right? I did do about 40 miles, right? I did 10 more miles than I was supposed to do. So I think that's pretty awesome. But I did DNF. I technically did not finish. I did fail the race, and I didn't get a medal. Okay? Even though, I gotta lie, the medal this year wasn't that cool. But it would have been nice to have a medal anyways. But yeah, I did DNF. So there was 2 other guys there, so it made me feel like a little less bad. There was one other guy who did the exact same thing that I did. And then there was another dude who was, I think he didn't have enough electrolytes or something like that. But he was like an elite runner. So like that made me feel really good. I was like, if an elite runner kind of messed up a little bit, then like I feel 20 times better. Could really happen to anybody. That's why you need those freaking Garmins, man. This is just one big ad for Garmin, okay? Get a Garmin, get a Chorus watch, get a GPS watch, download Strava maps, bring your extra battery pack, because all of this could have been avoided if I just had an extra battery pack. Isn't that crazy? All this could have been avoided if I just had an extra battery pack. So get that stuff. As for my friend, shout out to him. He was waiting for me for about 3 hours. He low-key thought I was dead for like a quick second there. It's kind of like, what happened? But he can't call me because it's, we're on a mountain. It's the GPS, the signal is gone. So I can't call him. I can't talk to him. So he's just waiting for me. He's like, I know he's not that behind. He's just waiting for me in his car. And yeah, it's pretty wild. And then yeah, after that, we drove down the mountain. It was a long drive. It really makes you realize how much you ran, because it's like 30 miles. I'm like, damn, bro, we really, really ran. Like, we drove down the mountain. It was like 40 miles, and it took like an hour. And I was like, holy shit, it's kind of wild how much we actually ran. And that's one thing, man. This is the advertisement also for just an ultra marathon runner. Do an ultra marathon, do a marathon, do a half marathon, do whatever, man. So you can just get into really good shape, and it's really fun. And then you get a medal, get a nice shiny medal afterwards. Just don't DNF, know where the hell you're going. With the marathon, that is really easy. But with a marathon, up a mountain, and all this other, you know what I'm saying? That's a little harder. That's it though. Am I proud of myself? I am proud of myself. I was a little disappointed because I was like, man, I didn't do the thing. Like I did the thing, but I didn't do the thing 100%. Finish the race, boom, 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 cross the finish line. That's it. And then it's like kind of weird because it's like I don't really want to tell people I DNF'd, but that's why I made it. But I'm like kind of honest, so that's why I made a YouTube video about it. I thought it'd be an interesting story as well. But you kind of don't want to tell people. You're like, yeah, I did not finish, and then you're like, oh, well, you're kind of words I can't say on YouTube. You're kind of a that word. And it's like, well, no, I'm not a that word because I did more than what I was supposed to do. You know? I did actually more than what was required to finish. I did 10 miles more. But at the same time, you didn't do the correct course. You kind of fucked up a bit, so. Yeah, I mean, shout out to the race though. Shout out to the race director. Shout out to everybody who ran the 50K with us. Shout out to my friend. Shout out to Colorado. Shout out to Colorado Springs. Overall, dude, super duper positive experience. I do not regret anything. Maybe take a right before I take a left, but that was my fault in general. So I'm not mad at nobody or I don't even know I said that, but yeah, super duper awesome positive experience. It was amazing. Run a ultramarathon, man. Run it. All right, peace.